Hey guys, welcome back to another blockchain news video. We got plenty to cover today. There's been quite a lot of news following WEF and the meetings that have taken place. Also, we got other countries kind of moving in. We got information on Tesla's Elon Musk and hackers, how much they took on 2019, and quite a bit more. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Today we have Bitcoin in the red. Essentially, pretty much we had a market correction. Bitcoin is currently at $8,285, Ethereum 158, XRP 21 cents, almost 22 cents, Bitcoin Cash 306, and Bitcoin SV down 11.31% at $250. So taking a look further into the current market, we do see that most of the market is in the red, if not barely holding on to some positive percentages. But right now the entire market is holding at 228 billion market cap, Bitcoin dominance of 66%. So let's go ahead and jump into the news. First up, we do have a Hawaiian bill would let banks act as crypto custodians. So SB 2594 introduced on January 18th with bipartisan backing would make it legal for Hawaiian banks to hold digital securities, virtual currencies, digital consumer assets, and other open blockchain tokens for their customers. It would further authorize Hawaiian courts to hear digital asset claims. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see how this bill is going to empower the Hawaiian banks to work as crypto custodians. That's going to be pretty much it for this one. It's described as a low cost, at times pro-consumer custodial system that could come online 60 days after passage. Banks would be required to pay a $1 annual fee and hire an independent accountant to examine their digital books. So it seems pretty interesting and easy to do, to apply. Let's see how it works out in Hawaii as we get more news on this bill. Next up, we do have Bitcoin's privacy and scaling tech upgrade. Taproot just took a big step forward. So right now, a privacy and scalability upgrade that turned out to be one of Bitcoin's largest to date has passed a couple of milestones that were little noticed outside technical circles. So Peter Willie, a Bitcoin core contributor and the brains behind the update known as Taproot, essentially had a code change on GitHub as what it's known as a pull request, showing that the code is ready for more developer eyes. He submitted a pull request to the code of Bitcoin Core. Does not mean that change is actually official, but it's a key step forward, and it seems to have some great support so far from other big Bitcoin developers at this time. Taproot adds smart contract capabilities to Bitcoin that would strengthen privacy. For example, the transactions that open and close payment channels on the Lightning Network, allowing speedier transfers of small amounts, would not look much different from normal transaction, at least up to a point. So it would be harder for blockchain voyeurs to discern what a user is doing. So that's going to be pretty cool. I am excited to see how this is going to pan out. It's stating that such a major change like this, it's going to be called pretty much a soft fork of Bitcoin, can only get absorbed if just about everyone agrees with it. It could become the biggest change that digital currency has seen since 2017, when scaling upgrade SegWit was locked in after a long and often savage debate. So we know that the Lightning Network that was placed on top of Bitcoin helped to make transfers faster. I don't know if you were here back in 2017, but Bitcoin used to be very, very slow compared to the newer cryptocurrencies that we have seen and their transaction speeds. But Bitcoin could take an hour, 2 hours, even 4 or 5, even a day if the network was pretty congested. So we did kind of resolve that. I'm pretty sure that people are able to transact just on a few minutes scale, 15 minutes maybe. But adding this privacy to Bitcoin would be amazing. So I'm going to see how this plays out, and I'll be keeping you guys posted with the news. Next up, we do have ex-CFTC chair Christopher Giancarlo on why he launched Digital Dollar Project. So remember, guys, that we did cover in the other video that he's pretty much leading this whole concept of digitizing the US dollar. And he's looking to push for future of global currencies. He stated that believes that the dollar usage in the global economy is underserved by serving as a continual analog instrument in a digital world. We are going to think through how to create a digital dollar that serves well into this coming digital currency or digital century. Let's envision a world where you have a Chinese central bank currency, you have a commercial cryptocurrency like a Libra, and you have a US dollar digital currency. So pause real quick on that. We notice how he's using the examples of the Chinese, right, who are currently working their own central bank currency because they want to detach from the US dollar. They want to have their own financial power and whatnot. But then they also made notice of Libra. So this entire movement that we're currently having with digital currencies is really being sparked because Facebook is a superpower right now when it comes to data and housing so many different profiles of people around the world, that if they are allowed to pretty much push their crypto through their system, everybody's going to use Libra. So that's really where all this is coming out of. And he continues to say, in those three worlds, one government is going to want to know every transaction, and especially transactions to political opponents to freedom. And even whether you're shopping with Target or whether you're shopping with Nordstrom. We think in a digital dollar, people could see their information being more secure, not less. So again, governments only really care about transparency and keeping people accountable and all that good stuff, essentially tracking. But we've been already looking at that with the previous videos. What I really want to see play out, I like seeing all these experienced financial trading commissioners and whatnot to speak their minds. I like to see the older folks from that are all pro US dollar really come into this conversation and see what they're going to end up doing, what they're going to end up supporting. And at the end of the day, just because they're making this digital currency from the US dollar or whatever other country currency doesn't mean that everybody's just going to support these currencies, right? People are going to end up wanting to use what they want to use. And so we see a strong support right now for Bitcoin being the coin that's in the lead that everybody's pretty much supporting. These digital currencies for the countries are going to come out, and we're going to see how those are going to play out, what people are really going to want to do with those. In my opinion, I'm hoping for a global, not a global government, but different countries having their own governments, having their own currency, but allowing the choice of people to use Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, whatever coin or token we want to use, right? And that we can move freely within each different currency, digital currency. So let's go ahead and move forward to the next one. We have Tim Draper stating that millennials should invest in Bitcoin. Currently, the biggest problem, Draper says, is that millennials have inherited a system from previous generations that just simply no longer work for today's generation. Me, being essentially a millennial, I struggle to see how the old ways can be beneficial to me, right? We're living in a digital age. We're living in an age where people like to see other people in videos, you know, people like attention. It's about ads and everything, and your audience and all that good stuff. And so methods that were used before are different today. So, and that applies also to finance. So according to Draper, putting money away 1 penny at a time to save for retirement is no longer working for millennials. He goes on to say that they are being born into a world already in debt, and this is very true. And beyond that, today's salaries simply don't allow young people to be able to pay off the debt. If you're not aware, currently there's global debt just going from country to country. And if the day came that one country really wanted to have their debt collected, it could probably initiate wars, right? So it doesn't look like that's going to happen right now. it seems like the world just runs on debt. You know, central banks just continue to print out their own national currencies without really anybody saying no. So right now, I think, you know, not financial advice, but obviously I think it would be smart to have a good ear down on the ground for cryptocurrencies as a whole. Whether you are a millennial or whoever you are, it's probably the best time to really get involved. So next up, 3 reasons why the crypto market is crashing today. Right now, actually, I found 2 major reasons on this one, and I'm just going to go over them real quick. The first one is the Chinese New Year is right around the corner in 2 days. Chinese New Year kicks off, and all of China celebrates in a big way. China is one of the largest crypto markets on the planet, despite crypto trading being banned within China. Many Chinese traders have managed to continue trading in South Korean and Japanese crypto markets to get around the ban domestically. And also, February is historically bearish for crypto markets. So the third one didn't really honestly have a good impact from what I noticed. It's just saying that Bitcoin is in heavy accumulation, which you know, I think that we've been in accumulation this entire time, so that doesn't really mean anything for why we went down in the market. But keep note of this Chinese New Year celebration. What's happened in the past is that the Chinese kind of pull their money out and whatnot, and then they get back involved after the Chinese New Year takes place. So keep an eye for that. And then February obviously can be bearish. So next up, we do have New European Blockchain Association called ADAN. It's currently the Association for the Development of Digital Assets. It was announced on January 14th, 2020 through a press release. The initial members of the association are these following 11 blockchain companies. We have, first up, Arc Ecosystem, second, Blockchain Partner, CoinHouse Custody Services, Consensus France. We do have iExec, Kaiko, Ledger, LGO Markets, Nomadic Labs, and Wharton. So if you do recognize any of these, good. I do recognize Ledger and Arc. I've heard of Arc before. Should probably dig deeper and learn more about it. They will also raise awareness about existing industry solutions, will push for improvements to legal and tax governments, and provide awareness and support to public authorities for measures that will support the development of a Europe-based yet international blockchain industry. So pretty interesting, right? Countries are focused, associations are focused on getting everybody involved. Next up, big news that made rounds through Twitter. We have PayPal pull out prompts Pornhub to add Tether as payment option for its adult models. So back in November 2019, I believe PayPal pulled out of supporting the Pornhub models, and right now Pornhub is turning to Tether as a resolve. So we know that this is going to be a stable coin, so hopefully that should help with the models that have been struggling for the past 2 months to get their payouts because PayPal decided to stop their payments. And it is explaining that Tether's USDT has been growing rapidly on the Tron network since the stablecoin expanded to the blockchain, and TRC20 Tethers made up almost 22% of the total supply of tokens as of the beginning of the year. So it seems like Pornhub continues to expand on their partnership here with Tron, and that's going to be interesting to take a look at. And of course, Justin Sun tweeted about it yesterday, and you can check that out on Twitter. It was kind of funny to see how he let the news go to the public. So next up, we do have Bitcoin puzzle worth 2.1 Bitcoin still unsolved. Find new clues here. So this has been going on. I think it's been going on for quite some time. There's also another puzzle that was puzzle artwork that took over 3 years before anyone could solve for the 5 Bitcoin price, which was worth about 50 grand at the time. So it's interesting how they set up these puzzles and people are still struggling. But the hints provided by Wong are the first 21 digit prime found in consecutive digits of E is a whole bunch of numbers spelled out here. The private key you derive from Satoshi's portrait is a big integer. So again, there's a few hints here. So if you're interested in solving this, you can pause the video and take a look real quick and add this information to your arsenal. So next up, we do have Securities Regulator of India bets on blockchain. The chairman of the Securities Market Regulator of India urges exploration of the best possible usages of blockchain for security markets. So Sebi, which is the Security and Exchange Board of India, makes a bet on blockchain tech, and they want to continue to clear up the benefits of maintaining records in distributed ledgers while still being a single source of truth. And that's what they're seeing with blockchain. Blockchain-based solutions are being developed by some foreign exchanges for settlement and by domestic exchanges for KYC recording or record-keeping purposes. There is a need for active research into these technologies to explore. So, long story short, kind of another country pretty much just harping on the whole, hey, we need to learn more about blockchain and apply these. So 2020 is going to be a very big year to see how governments and different agencies are going to be applying or understanding cryptocurrencies and blockchain as a whole. And although the Indian government is positive about the use of blockchain in multiple cases, it is not specifically positive on cryptocurrency. And referring back to another video I had made, I had stated how people do use blockchain without cryptocurrency, but cryptocurrency requires blockchain. So the people that do believe that, they think that to run a blockchain or to have people work on blockchain, you don't really have to incentivize them. And that's where I think people or certain governments are getting the wrong ideas. So I think as they continue to learn, yes, you can use private blockchains for ledgers and all that good stuff, but where people become, when people start being incentivized to do something for the greater good, it is through some kind of token, some kind of reward. And that's what some other projects are doing. So let's see how India continues to work with blockchain. Next up, some interesting news. We have South Korean military gets a blockchain based upgrade. So essentially the South Korean military manpower administration has partnered with Rayon Secure, one of South Korea's leading ICT security software companies, to provide a blockchain-based biometric ID and authentication solution for the South Korean military. Biometric systems promise amazing convenience and much less friction for consumers, with much better security than the present password-based system currently in use. A lot of us, that are in the internet right now, we average around 90 passwords for different accounts, and this is a huge risk. So they want to put biometric systems in their military so that they can make sure that they make their systems more secure and there's no data breaches or hacks. So this is going to be cool to see. That's pretty interesting here. Next up, we have blockchain and beer. World's largest brewer is assisting unbanked African farmers using blockchain. So this story was pretty cool when I was going through it. The AB InBev, the largest beer company in the world, has created a blockchain-based system in collaboration with Banku, a blockchain as a service software company, to assist small-scale African farmers to show that they are suppliers of the drinks behemoth. So some people that are supplying some of these key ingredients across the world do struggle with proving that they are actually supplying, and of course they're being kept from opening bank accounts. But this project will enable them to open bank accounts as well as develop a line of credit. It has already been enrolled in various African countries such as Uganda. So this is actually very powerful, very interesting, because now this system came to place after the Belgium-based company decided to use local suppliers other than importing huge quantities of malt and barley to African nations. So now what this does create is support for those African farmers, to be able to properly be paid, because what was happening was that the middlemen were essentially keeping the money. So this is banking the unbanked through blockchain, and it's going to be used for barley malt supply chain. So I'm very excited to see that, right? That's going to be good for Africa's economy, for the people that didn't have opportunity, and those farmers to feel more empowered. They're going to be able to to open a bank account. They're going to be able to open credit lines and just have that proof on a blockchain, right? On a phone, where they can prove, hey, I'm a supplier to AB InBev, a global company. So this is very exciting, very interesting. Just wanted to keep you guys in the loop on that. Next up, we do have Tether launching gold-backed stablecoin on Ethereum and Tron. So this one is called, or ticked, XAUT. Essentially, they are having a token that represents 1 troy fine ounce of gold on a London good delivery bar. So this token will be available as an ERC20 token on the network of Ethereum and as a TRC20 token on the blockchain of Tron. So at Tether Gold made the announcement, 0 custody fees, and essentially you're going to be able to have ownership of this token to whatever the exchange permits. So to whatever fraction they do permit. So if that's 8 decimals, 10, so on and so forth, you can go ahead and trade. But the big thing to keep in mind here, even though it is exciting news to have Tether token or token be tethered to gold, is that you do have to have a verified account with the company behind the token, TG Commodities Limited, and there is a minimum purchase amount equal to 50 XAUTs, which is essentially 50 fine troy ounces, and that's going to amount to about $75,000. So moreover, users will only be able to purchase it with US dollars. Now, in addition, should a user want to redeem his token for the physical gold, he must have at least 1 full bar of gold worth of tokens in order to request the redemption. I'm sure people that are big on gold can find this very enticing. My opinion is my gold today is Bitcoin. I recognize gold as hard to move around. I understand it does have use cases for jewelry, and it has been the world's oldest essentially reserve. But you know, with the digital world and how things are moving, for me, you know, this isn't a project for me. But if there's people out there that are interested in this kind of stuff, make sure you do your research, especially that key point there that you have to own 1 before you can even exchange it for physical gold. I think that's kind of a big deal, you know, a big issue for me. So next up, Tesla CEO Elon Musk blasts the one thing that gets crypto people angry. So he stated that he's neither here nor there on Bitcoin. He thinks that the Bitcoin white paper was pretty clever. He stated this on the Third Road Tesla podcast. He said this sort of gets the crypto people angry, but there are transactions that are not within the balance of the law, and there are obviously many laws in different countries, and normally cash is used for these transactions. But in order for illegal transactions to occur, cash must also be used for legal transactions. You need an illegal to legal bridge. That's where crypto come in. So basically he's saying that he sees it difficult for cash to be replaced by crypto. There was another article that was claiming that Elon said the opposite, so take that last piece of information with a grain of salt. But I think the big thing here to keep in mind is just that Elon, you know, he's not against Bitcoin, so I think that's cool. So next up, we do have crypto critic Peter Schiff cracks the puzzle on his missing Bitcoin, warns consumers about buying BTC. So he finally found out what was wrong, got his Bitcoin back, and he acknowledges that it was due to user error. He thought that his password was his PIN because the app logged him out, but he never used his password. He didn't keep a copy of his seed phrase. So honestly, just a stupid mistake. I have nothing else to say for that. There's, you know, that's dumb. If you're in cryptocurrency and you're holding assets in cryptocurrency, you should know how to protect your accounts. You shouldn't be making mistakes like this. So he's telling consumers about not to buy BTC, but you know, that's each person's choice. People should do their own research. I think cryptocurrencies are great for the world, honestly. So next up, hackers stole 282,617,000 in cryptocurrency from exchanges in 2019. Crypto crime took place, and it took different crypto assets: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, BCH, and Litecoin. And the biggest hack was on Coinbase, with a total of 105 million in Ethereum-based tokens stolen. So these central exchanges do get hacked from time to time, and it's important to know that even if you are holding it in a safe exchange, make sure you dig deep to see, hey, do they have a way of replacing this money that gets stolen? I know Binance does a fund where, in case there's a hack, they are able to pay their customers back. So look for stuff like that in exchanges. Next up, we do have Ripple's partner MoneyGram strengthens its presence in 5th biggest remittance market. I dove deeper into this, and they stated that they were excited for the partnership with the Suez Canal Bank. Will provide our customers in Egypt with cutting-edge capabilities that offer the industry's best service. So actually, MoneyGram now relies fully on Ripple's on-demand liquidity, and in case you don't know what that is, all that means is that they are using XRP, the X-Rapid solution that was renamed to on-demand liquidity. Why Ripple did that, who knows, but long story short, they are using XRP. It's being conducted for cross-border transfers, and with MoneyGram essentially having a foot in the door with Egypt, we should not rule out that Ripple might choose this country as a springboard for its future expansion into the African region. So I like to see stuff like that, more cryptocurrency being expanded throughout the world. Next up, we did see Bitcoin peer-to-peer exchange LocalBitcoins suspends African accounts. So just like that, they received an email from the platform that stated that you essentially can't use LocalBitcoins anymore. So Ethiopia, Botswana, Tunisia, Libya, Nigeria, and Ghana are the countries that LocalBitcoins imposed geo restriction in. The users receive the information that their accounts will remain suspended, and they need to delete it in order to withdraw their Bitcoin. So also just make note that Afghanistan, Iraq, Panama, Puerto Rico, Sri Lanka, and Saudi Arabia are also on the blacklist for LocalBitcoins. That's important to keep in mind. Like anything, LocalBitcoins can decide when to close people out. So just keep that in mind. If you do use this platform, you may be subject to this at some point. Next up, Ethereum 2.0 Phase 0 ready. Ethereum Foundation researcher states that Mr. Lowracker has given a sneak peek of the ETH2 up-to-date progress. According to him, Ethereum 2.0 Phase 0, also dubbed Beacon Chain, is now stabilized. Moreover, even the Phase 1 draft is completed. So we see some great progress here for Ethereum's next phase, where they're going to be implementing the proof of stake system, moving away from proof of work. This is all taking place in GitHub. Plenty of, development updates and coding and all that great stuff. So if you want to check that out, you can definitely go to the Ethereum's 2.0 GitHub, and you can see what took place there. And last but not least, what we kind of hinted at earlier, Facebook's Libra pushed world to reconsider USD as global reserve currency at WEF panels. So this panel took place on the 23rd of January. We're seeing the panel called Challenging the Dominance of the Dollar. It's just crazy that it wasn't Bitcoin that got everybody in the world or all these great leaders to talk about cryptocurrency, but it was rather Facebook cryptocurrency Libra. So it's kind of annoying, because deep down I think the Libra coin would be used perhaps to transfer within the Messenger app or something like that, but I don't think when people find out about cryptocurrency and what it can do, the concept of decentralization, perhaps people like some privacy or whatnot, I don't think anybody is really going to be floating over to Libra. You know, maybe people who have no care in the world for what cryptocurrencies are actually for. But I remember people stating that Facebook's move with Libra would cause people around the world to take notice, and not just regular people, but leaders throughout the world. So we're now in January 2020. It has been pretty quick since the announcement took place about Libra, I believe last year. And yeah, this is big. So 2020 is going to be a big year for cryptocurrencies as a whole. Questions took place stating, why is it that the dollar has such dominance? It does because it's currency that provides the best stability and safety. It makes complete sense to hold your value in dollars because if things go bad, it gains value. So this was stated by Gopinath. He is the director at IMF's research department. I read that sentence and I think to myself, no. When things go bad, I'm looking at Bitcoin. That has been the currency that went up in 10 years, and it has outperformed every other asset in the world. So how can people make statements like this? I don't know. They're still living in 2008, because what we've seen something different with Bitcoin. Do I think the US dollar should have a great play in the world? Of course. You know, I think every national currency should work in the world, and that countries should have their own coins work in a digital world. But yeah, I think very differently to this statement myself. So meanwhile, some officials have already warned that projects like Libra can have huge impact on the US dollar. That's been the fear. In August 2019, Mark Carney, the governor of the Bank of England, suggested that Libra-like digital currency could replace the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. Those are bold statements. I do not personally think that, but it's kind of crazy that some people out there, a governor of the Bank of England, would suggest something like that. So that goes to show just the uncertainty and the lack of information, the lack of knowledge, honestly, in this current space by government leaders or bank leaders and whatnot. Because again, anybody that's within the cryptocurrency market is not looking at Libra like, wow, as soon as this comes out, I'm going to turn over to it. Nobody is. But these people literally think that, you know, individuals that have been on this earth, what, 30, 40, 50 years? I don't know how old these people are, but it's insane that they think this stuff. That the thing that woke them up was Libra. It wasn't Bitcoin. It was Libra. Absolutely ridiculous. But that's what we have in the news today, guys. I wanted to keep you guys posted. Did add a little bit of flair there for the video for you guys, letting you know what I think about these articles and what's really taking place in the discussions at the WEF, and other comments made like Elon Musk. And yesterday we covered Steve Wozniak with Justin Sun. Just a lot going on. So seems to be like this is going to be a huge year. I'm going to go ahead and sign out. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like it. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to have more blockchain news videos coming to you guys. I'm trying to push for every day. I shouldn't have said that, but in any case, that's what I'm pushing for, because I really just want to bring this news, the big news throughout the day to everybody. So yeah, leave a comment down below if you have any questions, you want to talk about any of these articles, and I'll see you on the next one.